The Alteration School of Magic gives the mages of Skyrim incredible amounts of utility and defensive spells to use at their disposal. The Dragonborn can utilize many alteration spells in order to do some pretty cool stuff. Turning iron to gold, turning people to ash, and even moving objects purely with the mind are only a few things in an alteration mage's arsenal. You can even increase your defenses with alteration spells as well. With 17 spells in total, the Alteration School of Magic is bound to help the Dragonborn on their adventure in some way. Let's rank all of these spells so that we can find out which of them are truly the best. Like in my other spell ranking videos, I will rank these spells based on their combat effectiveness and their utility. I'll be taking into consideration any perks that may benefit these spells. I'll try to base these rankings purely on facts, but it is possible that my opinions about these spells could factor into their placement. So if you think that any changes should be made, please make sure to comment down below. And as always, just make sure to be respectful. Without further ado, let's get the show on the road. Right off the bat, we have a very unusual spell. Equilibrium allows the Dragonborn to sacrifice health for extra magicka. For most mage playthroughs, it's unlikely you'll put many level ups into health. Thus, the maximum magicka that the Dragonborn can accumulate is going to be very low. Not to mention, in most sticky situations, you're going to need as much health as possible in order to survive. Taking away that health in most situations can lead to you being more vulnerable than ever before. It's like burning money to stay alive, when in fact, you won't stay alive at all using equilibrium. MAGELIGHT isn't necessarily bad, but there is a better version of the spell in the game. MAGELIGHT can help you light up a room by shooting an orb of light. You can shoot it at a wall, floor, ceiling, or even attach it to other NPCs, and it will follow them along. The problem is, whenever I'm exploring a dark dungeon, I find that candlelight will actually help me see way better in more situations than MAGELIGHT does. Also, unlike a torch, you can't turn it off by command other than by casting another MAGELIGHT, which can be very annoying if you're trying to sneak away. Water breathing is only good for a few very specific instances in the game. It's great for hunting fish and aquatic plants, while also helping out with only a few quests. Besides that, I feel like water breathing isn't relevant for most of the game. If I happen to stumble upon a rare instance where I need to be underwater for a long time, a classic potion of water breathing will do just fine. Detect Dead doesn't provide much utility to the Dragonborn. The best use for the spell is to look for unlooted bodies. However, a cast of Candlelight and use of your own eyes can already do this pretty well. Undead creatures are also normally pretty loud anyways. I'll always hear a Draugr make a loud sigh every time I'm near them in a room, and skeletons will rattle. Most ghosts are quiet, but how often do you really run into ghost enemies in the game? Unlike MAGELIGHT, when Candlelight is casted, an orb of light will follow you around instead. This basically replaces any need for torches, which may free up some inventory space as a consequence. The only problem is that unlike a torch, you can't turn off Candlelight, which may be an issue when you need to suddenly stay hidden. Other than that though, Candlelight does its job, but it doesn't make enough of an impact in-game to be higher up on this list. It's just a portable light bulb after all. I know that there are a lot of you that really love the spell, but I just don't get it. Telekinesis is really fun, but there aren't many practical situations where telekinesis is really needed. The damage on a successful throw is pathetic, and it has an expensive magicka cost. It can help with sneaking if you need to steal an object from a shop or something like that, but without the quiet casting perk in the illusion tree, you're just going to get caught anyways. I really don't like this spell, so let me know down in the comments below if I'm missing anything about telekinesis. This spell is incredibly underrated. Transmute is a really good way to get money quickly. Let me show you how. Step 1. Mine some iron or silver ore. Step 2. Use Transmute to change all of it to gold ore. Step 3. Use the gold ore to craft many sets of gold jewelry. Step 4. Profit. If you also have a stockpile of gemstones, you can make a lot of expensive jewelry. Not only does it make money, but this method is a really good way to speed level smithing and speech. Transmute is a great spell, but if you're already set on money and have both of these skills maxed, the spell is useless. I just can't justify putting it any higher up on this list. Most of your enemies in Skyrim are living, breathing creatures. Detect Life will make it easier for you to see them before they see you. Detect Life does have some problems though. For one, quiet casting is almost a requirement because the enemies will be alerted to you if this is casted near them. Second of all, Detect Life doesn't let you see what type of enemies are on the other side of a wall. Say you want to prioritize your attack on the highest level bandit in a room, Detect Life won't be able to help you with that. Overall, Detect Life can be used to plan out an attack, but it doesn't give you enough information to really be worth using. I'll say this right off the bat, I'm not really a big fan of runes in Skyrim. Instead of being able to take control, you're reliant on enemies to hurt themselves. The effect of the Ash rune is very similar to Paralyze, except it lasts longer, and the target can't take damage at all. It's only good if you want to buy some time in a fight, and Paralyze won't last long enough for you. Other than that though, the invincibility really makes it hard to use Ash rune in most practical situations. Ash Shell is better than Ash Rune because you can cast it from a greater distance. However, the effect is still pretty bad. Again, enemies who are hit by the spell can't be harmed in any way. It's just a less expensive, but worse version of Paralyze, in my opinion. The only problem with Paralyze is that it costs way too much. 450 base magicka in order to immobilize a single enemy for only 10 to 15 seconds depending on your perks. Other than that though, Paralyze can make an enemy absolutely defenseless. It allows for easy kills in battles with only a few enemies. It's also really fun to use. Overall, Paralyze does shine in a lot of situations, but its high magicka cost really holds it back from being a top 5 spell. I've decided to group up Oak Flesh, Stone Flesh, Iron Flesh, and Ebony Flesh all into one group because similarly to the Raise Dead spells, they all do the same thing and their usefulness is different at every level. This placement should accurately represent them all. These spells are simple. Cast them to add more armor rating and resist more damage. With the Mage Armor perk, the Dragonborn has the freedom to not wear any armor and still be very strong. Unfortunately, this means that Mordecai, the magicka boosting dragon mask, can't be worn in order to benefit from this perk entirely. Mass Paralysis gives you a lot more bang for your buck in terms of magicka cost. The only problem is, it can be hard to take advantage of these effects because the spell only lasts 15 seconds. You might be able to kill 1 or 2 kills while they're down, but the rest of the group will stand up before you can hurt them. It's still one of the best spells in the game because you can have so much control of the fight by only using this one spell. Dragonhide is simply the best alteration spell in the entire game. Increasing your physical damage resistance to 80% is so good. You can also raise your magic resistance through many of the perks in the tree, so you've got that covered too. So basically, with all the right armor, enchantments, perks, and gear, Dragonhide can almost make you invincible on the battlefield. Now, it only lasts for 30 seconds, but that's long enough to last for most threats and boss fights. You can see in this clip, these high-level Force 1 are having troubles, despite me only wearing steel armor. I will say, after using these spells while researching for the video, I was pretty disappointed. Many of the non-combat spells only help in very specific situations, so it really let me down. Still, I've learned a lot from making this video, and I hope to use more alteration spells in future mage playthroughs. I want to thank everyone for the recent support on the channel. We have passed over 100 subscribers. I know it doesn't sound like much, but we are growing quickly as a channel. The support and comments on the last few videos are overwhelmingly positive, and it's all because of viewers like you. If you liked this video, or perhaps learned anything, a like would be greatly appreciated. If you want to see more of this content, please consider subscribing because I plan to make many more videos like this one in the future. That's all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.